David, we have a great webcast on around the tax implications of tax reform, what clients should be looking at. One of the key things was around enterprise solutions. As companies look at finance transformations, there's a lot going on in that space. How can tax really take advantage of that? And in particular, when you think about all the additional pieces of information that are needed for tax reform, where are we seeing companies really make the best use of that, and how are they integrating with finance?
Well, I think it's important to think about what's the starting point for most companies, right? Their enterprise systems were designed to meet the needs of management reporting, 10K, and if they're lucky, maybe some support for stat accounting. But we know there's plenty of companies who are doing that through a kind of spreadsheet process. And of course, tax, because we're fundamentally driven by legal entity data, that's why we have so much spreadsheeting going on in our world to make up for the difference. There are some really big changes that are going on around enterprise systems at the moment. It's driven by big change in underlying technology and performance. So in-memory is a really big game changer, because a lot of the ways in which enterprise systems were previously constructed were inherently to deal with the fact that the data couldn't all be loaded into memory at the same time. So as a result, the way the new enterprise systems are being designed provides much more opportunity to tax sensitize underlying information. So when we think about a code block, right, and we think about all of the extra tagging that we might need for tax reform, right, and even before that, BEPS, right, country by country reporting, like what are those extra fields that we would have liked to have added into the code block? And of course, when tax teams approached their colleagues in IT finance, they were told, can't do that, too complicated, slow down close, and as a result, it didn't happen. That landscape has changed fundamentally. So more than ever, tax teams have an opportunity to really get a seat at the table. But I would say that the challenge is that a lot of the data points that are relevant, were relevant, under tax before BEPS, but now with BEPS and with US tax reform, like just core, transactional data elements, like, who's our trading partner? What's the nature of the charge that's going through a cost center, right? And so the challenge for tax departments is, how do they get engaged as early as possible in the process in order to be able to have that voice at the table, recognizing that you might have to sit through 2 days of discussion around company codes for that one issue that's particularly relevant to the tax agenda.
So there's no tax session around an ERP implementation. You have to really get in and help influence the accounting decisions to be able to get the tax information that you need. And it's just a paradigm shift for tax, where they tended to provide what they wanted, and then finance tried to figure out a way to accomplish that. Now it's much more about teaming with finance and accounting and getting the requirements in and making sure that it's a win-win for everyone to provide the right level of detail with the right metadata attached. It's really different than the way ERP implementations have been done in the past, right?
I think that's absolutely right. I think in the past with, waterfall methodology, at some point, someone may have come and engaged with the tax department and said, please tell us all of the requirements you need, and then we'll make sure we bake that into design. Whereas today, the system integrator is coming with a model template and saying, tell us why it won't work.
Right.
And that's a real time pressure for tax departments, because those agile implementations are running super quick. So how do you get at the table at the right time? So very much we're saying to companies, be on the front foot. So even, if you have even a, whiff that there's a replatforming in play, start gathering those requirements now, because when someone does come to talk to you, you're not going to have very long to respond.
Rollout is not the time to get your voice in, right?
Absolutely.
So, but a great chance, because there are so many more complex data needs as you think about tax reform than have ever been needed in the past. So great convergence of finance transformations along with tax reform. So a good opportunity for tax, but they just really need to jump on it.
I would have said it's the catalyst of a generation, right? I think if companies don't take the opportunity through the replatforming that's going on right now, it's going to be a decade or so before they get the information they need.
All right. Well, thank you very much.